But what is wrong with the Heterogeneous theory of international trade? Is there any flaw for the modern theory of trade? Is the modern theory of trade is free from shortcomings? Let us examine the details. Welcome to the new video. Through this video, we are going to look at the drawbacks of the Heterogeneous theory, or the criticisms raised against or leveled against the Heterogeneous theory of international trade. We will also examine how should we judge the Heterogeneous theory on the basis of the given set of criticisms raised against the theory. I have listed out a number of criticisms raised against the Heterogeneous theory of international trade. First of all, unrealistic assumptions. All the assumptions of the Heterogeneous theory are argued to be unrealistic, as it is unlikely or less likely to happen in the real world. Look at the assumptions of the Heterogeneous theory. It is based on the two-factor, two-commodity model. It is based on the constant returns to scale. It did not consider the increasing or diminishing returns to scale. It is assumed identical production function in both nations. It assumed identical technique of production in both nations. There will be no trade barriers according to the Heterogeneous theory. There will be competitive market will prevail in both nations. Factor cost is only the cost of production according to the Heterogeneous theory. There will be no trade barriers, there will be no transportation cost. All these are the assumptions which will be unrealistic, as it is unlikely to happen in the real world. So the theory is formed in the framework of this competitive market structure, and it is unlikely to happen in the real world, so the theory will be invalid. Second in the list is Heterogeneous theory is argued to be a one-sided theory, as it considered only supply side for determining the factor prices, and it neglected the demand forces for the for determining the prices of factors. According to the Heterogeneous theory, factor abundance or factor proportion will affect the prices of factors and not the demand for factors. In fact, the demand for labor will influence the price of labor. Demand for capital will influence the price of capital. This has not been considered by the Heterogeneous theory. The Heterogeneous theory of trade is argued to be static in nature, as it doesn't consider dynamic changes that may happen in the structure of the economy. There are possibilities on nations may become a capital abundant nation from a labor abundant nation. A labor abundant nation may become capital abundant nation in the future, as they were able to increase the supply of capital. Then they will become the capital abundant nation. This structural change in the economy has not been considered by the Heterogeneous theory. As per the Heterogeneous theory, when one nation is capital abundant, it will remain as capital abundant nation forever. Similarly, when a nation is labor abundant nation, that will remain as a labor abundant itself in future also. But this is not a right explanation, as Heterogeneous theory is argued to be static in nature, as they did not accept any changes, and it is not dynamic in fact. Another criticism leveled against the Heterogeneous theory is Haberler's criticism on the partial equilibrium analysis. According to Haberler, Heterogeneous theory is based on the partial equilibrium analysis, and completely it is not fall in general equilibrium analysis. This is a partial equilibrium analysis, as it only takes a part of the economy, part of the market, and it is not able to expand the analysis to a real comprehensive general equilibrium framework. So this is just a partial equilibrium analysis and not a comprehensive one, and it is not able to make a generalization on the basis of this partial equilibrium analysis. Next one is the prevalence of Leontief paradox. The possibility of Leontief paradox has not been considered by the Heckscher-Ohlin theory. What is the paradox here? According to the Heckscher-Ohlin theory, uh, the capital abundant nations export capital intensive commodity and import labor intensive commodity. For example, United States export capital intensive commodity and import labor intensive commodity. But as per the study conducted by Vasily Leontief in 1953 on the validity of Heckscher-Ohlin theory, he found some results which are paradoxical, which are contrary, which are not in line with the Heckscher-Ohlin theory. Vasily Leontief found that United States, even though a capital abundant nation, exports labor intensive commodity and import capital intensive commodity in 1947. This is the paradoxical result. This is called popularly Leontief paradox. The possibility of Leontief paradox is there when this paradox is repeating over and over again, then the theory will be invalid. The Heckscher-Ohlin theory neglected many factors driving commodity prices and international trade. There are so many factors affecting commodity price and driving international trade other than labor and capital, other than factor endowment. Factor endowment or factor proportion is the only factor driving international trade. So the Heckscher-Ohlin theory completely neglected other factors like technology, technique of production, natural resources, productivity, difference in productivity of capital, difference in productivity of labor. All these factors are in fact vital in affecting international trade and commodity prices and affecting the comparative advantage. So this has not been considered. These factors are completely neglected and only taken factor endowment or factor proportion as a sole factor driving international trade. Another one is Winhol's criticism. Winhol made an interesting comment on Heckscher-Ohlin theory of international trade. According to him, factor prices are affected by commodity prices rather than commodity prices being affected by factor prices. So to speak, when commodity prices are higher, factor price will increase. When commodity prices are lower, factor price will also lower. That means the factor prices are affected by commodity prices rather than commodity prices being affected by factor prices. The last point I have for you is consumers' demand has been completely neglected by the Heckscher-Ohlin theory. According to the Heckscher-Ohlin theory, commodity prices are in fact affected by the factor prices according to the Heckscher-Ohlin theory, and not the demand comes from the consumers. It has been completely neglected. In fact, the Heckscher-Ohlin theory is a supply side theory, just like the classical theory, but and it neglected the demand side analysis. Most of the assumptions of Heckscher-Ohlin theory are in line with the classical theory of international trade, except a few. So the criticisms of Heckscher-Ohlin theory are almost same as the criticisms leveled against the classical theory of international trade. Mainly, the Heckscher-Ohlin theory of international trade is criticized on the basis of the prevalence of unrealistic assumptions on which the theory is formed, and the theory is argued to be static. The theory is is a supply side theory and completely neglected the demand side analysis, and the theory is falling in partial equilibrium analysis and not able to expand to a general equilibrium analysis. Having said that, the theory cannot be said invalid, as the Heckscher-Ohlin theory is a well established theory, and it gives us an idea on how does the comparative advantage is determined and how does the trade is happening between two nations. So the theory is giving us a convincing explanation for the basis of international trade. The theory is in fact right in its core of the explanation, although there are so many limitations for the theory. Thank you.